You see how using the black underneath, I don't know if you guys can really see, but if you use the black underneath, that the color really ends up popping. It's really neat. That's why it's good to use more of a black base than like a flesh tone or a light base. So what I'm going to do is take my 219 brush, I'm going to get a little bit more of this pigment in the lid here. I'm going to press the pigment into the brush bristles, tap it off, and then I'm going to go along the outside as close as I can and get all of the black covered on the outside, and then kind of fill in between the big area you covered and your line on the outside. So, sorry I can't talk while doing this because it's moving the bottom. But you can see how I'm lining going down. If you work the pigment into the bristles by kind of, you know, patting it in there and then doing this and tapping it, if you just brush with this little tiny brush along it, it's not going to give you fallout either. So now that I've got my line, you can choose either to use this, you can use your 222, your 217. I'm going to go ahead with the 222 brush and fill in a little bit because it's a little bit more domed, but it's still fluffy, but you can see it's not quite as fat as the 217. So I'm going to use a little bit skinnier brush, but not as skinny as my 219. So I'm going to load it up with a little bit of pigment, tap it. Just kind of like half brush, half pat it in. A lot of detail work in makeup can be really difficult. So what I highly suggest is a lighted, magnified mirror. That way, it doesn't matter what time of day it is, what kind of lighting you have, you're always going to have light, be able to see what you're doing, and the magnifiedness of it is really going to help you see. So like, woo, if I can pull this one up for you guys to see it. This is my lighted makeup mirror. You can kind of see it magnifies quite a bit. It's got, this is the light, this little light, because I mean it's kind of not shown in the camera very well, but that's what I use. And once again, I'm going to take my 217 because it can cover a pretty good area. Just remind you guys which that one looks like. And once again, just, you know, pat it into your brush. Kind of, you know, dig it in there a little bit. That way it's in the bristles and you're not going to get much fallout. Then what I'm going to do is take it right above my pink line. And I'm going to pat it in there. And you'll really be able to see the contrast of colors now. Because while the purple is really dark, it's still got that purple shine. Now you can kind of see the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and line this right in there. Now where you get to the areas where it's creased in the time that since you've put it on, make sure to take your 194 brush and just smooth it out. And there should be enough that's collected in the crease. It'll just cover all that right up. Don't forget underneath your eye. And there, it's all taken care of. And then before it starts creasing again, just go ahead and set all of that on your eye with the violet pigment. What I'm going to do next is get a little bit of pigment in both the violet lids and the fuchsia lid. And this is when we're going to start blending, and I'll show you how to do this. At least this is my method. If you've got a better method, by all means. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the pink here. What we're going to do, if I can see this in the camera and do this and show you at the same time, what we're going to do is start blending in the pink and start blending up into the purple. Just like that, okay? You do another little swatch to kind of show you. Start here and just start blending up into the purple. bit. And then on the other side of the brush, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of the violet pigment. Make sure to tap these off. And I'm going to start in the violet here and blend down towards the pink. Just like that. Start here and blend towards the pink. Is use Luna Cream Color Base in MAC. It's kind of like a white with the shimmer. I'm choosing to use this instead of like a pure white base because I want that little bit of shimmer on my face. If you want it matte, there's a MAC Pro Cream Color Base in white. They also have the white paint sticks. They also have the white chroma cakes. There's a lot of different products in the Pro lines that you can use, and I think they have those released around Halloween in the regular MAC websites quite often, so it's a thing to check out. But since I want a little bit of luminosity, I'm going to use the Luna. I'm going to take my 190 foundation brush again, and what you want to go ahead and do is apply this on the rest of your face. Now what I'm going to do is stop this right about here. Now you can start blending it down into your neck if you want to blend it down into your clothes, but I'm going to first try it here and see how that looks because it might look like a mask and then another mask on top of a mask. So I'm going to try this out, and that's the biggest thing about this is that don't be afraid of messing up with makeup. Just it's time to experiment. If there's any new people out there just trying to learn makeup, just sit down when you have the time and just experiment. Don't worry about what it looks like. It can wash off. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to start blending this into my skin. Now you're going to see that this doesn't have as nearly as much pigment in it as the black. But that's fine because this is what we want. And of course what you want to do is take your 190 brush and fill up the big spaces, and then we're going to use the concealer brush to fill in the small spaces. Fill your brush up with some white. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just like we did whenever we were doing the black, although it's kind of opposite. You go into the small area and then spread out. It's a lot easier that way. So I'm going to have to stop talking because it's moving my cheeks. Okay, now that I've filled in the details and covered most of my face in white, what I'm going to do is take my MAC 316 lip brush, and I'm going to load it up with the cream color base, and this will really help fill in the little lines in your lips. See how it kind of fills that in? So fill in the lines in your lips and go around your lips on the outside. What's nice about the cream color base is that it's hydrating too. So you won't have to worry about lip balm. Now my lips are white. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to set this white. So I've got a couple of different products that you can use, and I'm going to do swatches of both so you can see the difference. So I'm going to put a little bit of Luna color, cream color base on my hand, and then I'm going to do swatches of both of these colors so you can see the difference and decide which one you'd rather use. So grab a brush here, and this first one I'm going to use is MAC Pigment in Vanilla. I'm not using the white Pro MAC Pigment that's matte because it's matte. Now the only problem with the Vanilla Pigment is that it's got a lot of gold tone in it. And while it's a really pretty color, I don't know if that's the look I want to go for.